Hey, are you looking to evolve to a higher level of existence? To practically harness spirituality and personal growth in a crazy, busy, imperfect world? Then you've come to the right place. My name is Prash, and this is Urban Spirituality, the show which fuses ancient wisdom with contemporary spiritual practices to deliver value-adding tools, traits, and insights to help you live your fullest potential. We always keep it real, featuring authentic, unfiltered dialogue with guests from diverse backgrounds to inspire, entertain, and enlighten all who listen. So get ready for your dose of urban spirituality. Be present and let's dive in. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Urban Spirituality. I'm your host, Prash K, and I am delighted to have with me somebody who's originally from the US, but has somehow found the rain-filled skies and gray days of London, absent sunshine, to be her home. She's moved to the UK, but she spends plenty of time between here and the US. I'm really excited to have her. I wouldn't even know where to exactly begin, but let me just give you a little bit of insight. Julia comes and brings with her a wealth of talents and skills from a background that includes an MBA from the London Business School, no less, time spent in the US honing her craft. In addition to that, she's been through a lot of training, stress management, hypnotherapy, NLP, a number of other strings to the bow. I'm not even going to spoil it and mention also a nutrition specialist in the making. She loves her training. She's worked with plenty of people the world over. She's a published author. I'm delighted to say that her...
Can I show my book?
Yo, show the book. Absolutely. She's got a 5-star rated book on Amazon.
Yes.
Attract Authentic Love. How to bring true love into your life in 3 proven steps. Julia is a undeniable powerhouse, bringing her author skills, her personal coaching experience, her MBA experience, and blending all of that to bring a powerful way to solve people's problems and master the art of interaction. Please put your hands together and show your love for the wonderful Julia Keller. Julia, welcome.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Prash. That was a great introduction.
Thank you. Julia, we're really delighted to have it. So the first thing I want to ask you is, who's top of your Christmas shopping list and who's not?
Oh, I can't give away my secrets. You mean other than my kids, for whom I have spent more money than, I'm not even going to go there.
Tell us. So so I want to first ask.
I do love Christmas, but Christmas is an expensive holiday.
Christmas is an expensive time. So no, absolutely. So look, I want to get straight into it. I mean, I gave this intro and, there's so much to take in, but would you care to humor us a little bit and give us a little bit of an insight on your background and what's led you from your life in the States on this journey as somebody who's a respected authority and a published author?
Absolutely. Well, so I made my way here actually to go to London Business School, as you mentioned. And I did marketing for the longest time, working with technology of all things. Okay. And I happened to make my way working with a lot of startups. And it was working with people in startups that actually taught me a lot of what I started to do in the love coaching area, because you kind of see the successes of certain startups. Certain people make it, certain people don't. Very similar to certain people get loads of job interviews and certain people don't. And in the same way, certain people get loads of dates and certain people don't. So being somebody who studied psychology in my early life and was doing a lot of, I like doing research, but, face-to-face kind of research. So I wanted to understand what was it that made people successful, and are there patterns between the two? And then in my own life, when I got divorced, I kind of made my way into running different, for charity and for free and for fun and for my friends, different singles events. And started watching people and being like, who's successful, who isn't? Who's, what does it take to be good at dating, and, who's going to be good at love, and who manages to stick it out? And why do some people have like everyone in love with them and other people just no sunshine at all? And I'm just like, well, I know who I want to emanate. So I started to watch these people And then I studied coaching, I studied NLP, I studied hypnotherapy, and all of these, you learn all these different techniques, but it basically comes to, if you emanate the people who succeed, you learn to succeed.
Right.
And so much of it has to do with what you feel here, and
Nice.
how you take care of here.
Nice.
There's just like all rooted into the same place. It's really your mind is what can bring you success in everything. And so I started to become obsessed with, how to better my mind, how to better the minds of my clients, how to help them reframe their lives so that they look at everything differently. Because let's be honest, all of us have things that happen that are good, and all of us have things that happen that are not so good. And the difference between whether, how we live our lives has everything to do with how we look at what happens. Because we can look at something wonderful and be like, it's okay, but I really wish I had that. Or we can look at something terrible and be like, oh my God, my life is so awful. Why am I so punished?
Right.
Or we can just change everything around and look at something wonderful and be like, wow, I'm so lucky. I'm so fortunate. Thank you, universe, for bringing this wonder down to me. And look at something terrible and say, okay, well, that was a test. That was a fork in the road. That was a obstacle, but I managed to get over it. I fell down. I shattered into a few pieces, but I put myself back together and look, I'm okay. And look how much I learned from this horrible thing that happened. And in the end, the people who were successful were the people who were able to constantly keep that sort of attitude. I'm sure you encounter a lot of that in your day-to-day.
Yeah, for sure. We work with people just recently with the Men Empowerment Academy. Mm-hmm. One of the heart and soul topics was our mindset and how we need to shift our mindset from a victim mindset to somebody who's actually an explorer, an adventurer. And we kind of took this refreshing tack, right? That,
that's
wait a minute,
great way to put it.
Why? Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So instead of kind of asking, and I think one of the messages that came out, one of the key themes for us was, if you want good results, if you want good outcomes, you got to start asking the better quality questions. You've got to start asking better questions to get better answers, better results. And a lot of people are so focused on getting the right answers, they forget to ask the right questions. A perfect example is in relationships or stuff in life. People, when something bad happens, calamity happens, self-sabotage picks up, right? And they say, hey, why me? Why is it always me? Why does this happen to me?
Absolutely.
Well, hey, it doesn't. Or first of all, does it always happen to you? Does it really always happen to you? And why are you saying, why does this always happen to me? Could there be a better question? Could there be, for example, a better question could be, well, this has happened to me. What can I learn from this? Instead of saying, why does this always happen to me? And I think, and NLP talks about reframing and,
yes.
This could be an entire 3-hour interview.
Yeah, and you, NLP. Like me, are a student of NLP, aren't you?
Yeah, right. I'm a student of NLP, and and that's why you touched on modeling there, emulating, right? Modeling and emulating. And folks, for those of you who are kind of listening in here, this isn't the stuff that Tyra Banks does and some of the famous cat models modeling in NLP.
Yeah, this is a very different kind of modeling.
It's very kind of different.
So I think actually, if you watch her show, which I have at times watched her show, I'm guilty pleasure. If you watch her show, I think she does a lot of remodeling. She probably is a student of NLP as well.
Right. And she's probably doing it, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, but she's doing it. And I think
that's why she's so successful, because she doesn't have.
Absolutely. So I want to ask this one question to you. What do you think are the top 1 or 2 reasons why people kind of end up self-sabotaging, especially in the area of relationships, whether especially romantic relationships, not only romantic, right? People, I mean, at this time of Christmas, you end up, we know countless people, and folks, if you're listening in and clicking, if you resonate with this, there are many of us who have, let's say, challenging relationships with our parents, siblings, loved ones, and so forth. How many of us end up self-sabotaging? Sometimes when that other person is trying to reach out to you, and it reminds me of the old Mike and the Mechanic song, we're all different people and we're living different lives. We never forgive, and therefore one of us dies. And it's so much like that. We end up self-sabotaging. Mike and the Mechanic. So Julia, what's your take on this? That horrible thing, sabotage.
Well,
self-sabotage.
How many hours do I have really to answer that question? I mean, okay, let's say one of the top reasons is I do think people in general in life take the easy road out all the time. And I do think it is easier to be a victim than to actually look at your life, own your mistakes, and be like, okay, I'm here because I made myself come here. It was a mistake. I made a mistake. I've wasted years or whatever it is that, excuses we tell ourselves. I've, come this far. It's my error. And now I'm going to turn around and do something about it and change my future. It doesn't reflect my past. How much easier is it to be like, oh, poor me, my job is terrible, my boss hates me, I'm about to get fired, I have all these bills. It's much easier to play victim than to stand up and be like, okay, yes, this stuff happened to me. I allowed it to happen. Now, what am I going to do about it?
Right.
I mean, that takes work. And I just think, a lot of times we take the easy way out. I mean, I have been guilty of that up to a certain point as well. We all are. It is easy to play victim. So, it's harder to stand somewhere and be like, I'm going to change my life. And it actually is really hard. When I talk to my clients and I'm just like, okay, yes, you've been single for 10 years. And yes, you've had all these failed relationships. And, yes, this has happened up to now, but let's change it. But this is going to take work. I always tell people it's going to take work. Are you really ready to do this work? Because it's not. There's no free ride in life. Everything that we work on, we're good at. I mean, let's be honest. People who are professional violinists, they're not born that way. They're not like, I know some people who are professional violinists, their parents are tone deaf. They have never, their parents didn't, all their parents were able to do was like get them their first couple of years of violin lessons. And then these people just fell in love with playing that instrument and just kept up and practiced every single day, and then they became the professional amazing violinists that they are, and it's not, it takes a lot of work. I mean, you look at how much they practice. They get up at 6 a.m., practice 1 hour before they went to their day job so that they can afford their lessons, and one day things broke through. But that's like with everything. I mean, as an entrepreneur, you probably see it all the time. As an entrepreneur, start having your own business, it takes years before you actually, make money doing it. And how many people quit up to the, they're like, oh, it's just too hard. I'll just go and work for the man again.
So, I've been down that road.
Everything that succeeds takes a lot of work.
So I think, I think that's a truth. If we get that, I think that there's a learning right there. There's a distinction. Are you in it for the long haul to succeed, or do you want quick results without putting in the effort? And that's a distinction itself, folks. I think we can take that to heart and recognize that if you want to undo self-sabotage, you need to stop playing the victim. You need to stop regarding yourself as a victim and starting to ask better quality questions, right?
Absolutely. And also what you have here is, it's basically, if you use your mind to help you and use the power of the universe, which I talk about all the time, to people who are not religious, who are, I'm very spiritual. I wouldn't call myself religious, but I believe very strongly that there is a higher power. And, use your mind and allow whatever it is that you believe in to help you.
Yeah.
And beautiful. Ask for help, because if you do use your mind and you believe and you visualize and you do all these steps, it basically takes the work down by 50%. Incredible. So it doesn't feel like work. It feels like joy. And, it helps you. Why not use everything that's available to you? Yeah,
couldn't agree more. But I want to throw a spanner in the works here. Okay. A lot of people who are listening to this are going to say, okay, I want to overcome that self-sabotage. I want to find that person. I've already got a person in my life who I really like and I want to get more expressive with, but I just feel I can't. But you know what's stopping us? Inner critic. The inner critic is
that inner voice. I call it the inner voice.
Let's talk about the inner voice, Julia.
Yes. So, that inner voice is what NLP does such a good job on. I'm sure you've experienced that. NLP and hypnotherapy. But, if you cannot afford to go to a therapist and you want to work on it yourself, you can as well. As much as I want everybody to come to me as a therapist, I just think if you want to change your inner voice, you can. And we all have an inner voice. We all have something inside of us that says, you can't do this, you idiot.
Right. And
I mean,
and it shows up at the strangest of times, right?
all the time. And it's like, you're not good enough. You're not good looking enough. You're not slim enough. You're not healthy enough. You're not, good enough at whatever you're doing. You're not a good enough employee. You're not a good enough girlfriend, boyfriend, mother, father, whatever. But, how do we quiet the inner voice? We change it. We basically tell it to be quiet, stop talking, and we let the positive voice out. And I can tell you an example of one of my clients, for example, who had a huge inner voice. I mean, her whole inner voice was, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not slim enough, I'm not young enough. Who, by the way, just fast forward to more than a year later, took her maybe even 2 years, maybe 3, since I've known her. She is so happy right now in a relationship, stopped self-sabotaging herself, completely changed her life, is doing amazing in her career. Everything changed. And the only thing that she changed was how she told her inner voice to basically stop talking. I mean, and she did it using so many, different ways, but like she didn't have the money to pay for, huge therapy. So she did it herself, in effect. I mean, yes, we did a little bit of coaching together, but after that, she went on and did it herself because she's like, yes, I want to own my life now. I'm done with being the victim. And she was the victim for many years.
Incredible.
Because I met her when she was almost 50. So everybody out there who's saying I'm too old, no, this woman, yeah.
So I mean,
this woman was abandoned by her ex with a child, and she put her life together when she's more than 50. So
let's touch on that subject, and before we kind of move on to our next area. What would you say to the viewers out there, the listeners out there, could be 2 or 3, even 1 or 2 strategies or quick practical steps that they can take to reduce the sound of that inner critic, the inner voice, the negative inner voice?
So I'm going to use something that kind of, I used to study Kabbalah, and I kind of love this thing they have. And they call it, there's the action. They always say the thing that gets you isn't the thing that happens. It's your reaction to the thing that happens. So something happens in our life, and we react to that something that happens. And it's how we react that determines our life, not the thing that happens. Does that make sense?
Hear that? Yeah. It's how we react. Yeah.
It's how we react. So let's say something happens, and that inner voice comes up and says, you idiot, you always do this. You always make this mistakes. You always whatever. So you have to stop, take a breath. Why you take a breath is you quiet that, that pounding heart, which is what makes your instant reaction. So you don't allow instant anger, reaction, negative voice, whatever it is, to control you. You take a breath, you pause. Yeah, whatever it is that's coming to your head, you basically turn it off and you turn on whatever it is that you want to tell yourself. So what I recommend to people is to have a little mantra that they tell themselves. You'd like this because you're, mantra therapy. So you tell yourself a little mantra, like anything. I mean, my clients was, I'm good enough and I deserve love. It was as simple as that. I'm good enough and I deserve love. And then afterwards it became, I'm enough. I'm pretty enough, I'm slim enough, and I deserve love. And you know what? She lost weight and she started going to the gym just based on that whole little addition.
Incredible.
So if you just put a little voice, like that little mantra, you say it to yourself constantly, and then you allow the new reaction to happen, which is, no, I'm not going to react like that. You're right. I'm good enough. Yeah, and then you change the whole reaction. And that just has to become a new habit.
Love that.
Because the whole thing is, all those negative voices are just negative habits that we've established over the years. Because whatever it is that happened, in our childhood, in our youth, because it always goes back to that, created this pattern, this habit that we're used to doing. Being not so nice to ourselves, whatever it is. Yeah, so we just have to create this new habit. And in the beginning, every new habit takes a period of adaptation. It's not instant. So in the beginning, it will feel forced and it will feel weird. It feels weird to be like, I'm good enough, I'm pretty enough. It feels weird to say that to yourself. But then over time, it starts to become automatic, and I can be loved. I'm good enough.
Yeah,
And the other thing is to trust that whatever it is that you want, is that desire is given to you from a higher place because it's yours already. So this is where lots of people go wrong. And this is what I found. This is where working with startups was so key, because I found that the startup owners who were successful, like the startups that I worked with that actually did well, that are still around, were the ones where the owner was like, this idea came to me because it's mine. I'm meant to make something happen with it. So even when initially things weren't working and everything was difficult,
Right.
they were like, okay, I'm going to reevaluate. I might do it slightly differently, but the reason the idea is here is because it's mine and I'm meant to succeed with it. And I know one founder that changed his company like 4 times, but in the end, his company's huge. It's huge now. And, all of it was just because of faith. And it's the same thing with love. You have to just believe that your special someone is out there, that like the world wants you to find love. And then you do everything walking towards that. So you don't hide inside your room. You open up to the universe to allow it to happen. You won't find him hiding inside your room. I mean, you might on an app, but but then you have to be on that app.
Well, hang on a second here. Let me. There's
a lot of ideas. Sorry, I get very.
No, I love it. No, and I'm getting excited hearing this, and this is why I want to just interject and just and take this and break a certain pattern that people get into, and that is that a lot of people, myself included in the past, have got this program that if we want to find love, authentic love, we want to find the one, or even just find somebody who we can have some good times with, authentic, right there, the book, folks.
I have an online product too on juliakeller.co.uk in case anyone's wondering. It's 50% off right now for Christmas, by the way.
Oh, there's a Christmas sale on Julia. We'll make sure we'll let people know. We'll stick a link in there,
Julia Keller on Facebook or juliakeller.co.uk. Sorry, that was a shameless plug.
No, it's a very good plug, a very relevant plug right now. No apologies needed, Julia. And this is what I want to say. A lot of people are programmed, myself included in the past, to think that, hey, to find the one and all that kind of stuff, they got to put their energy outwards, right? They got to be on Tinder. They got to be on, Match.com, this dating app, that dating app. They got to be out there on these blind date parties, lock and key parties. What I'm getting at is, in short, people are expending their energy very much outwards. And whilst you're right, people do need to kind of take some steps, right? God helps those who help themselves. You can't just sit in your room and wish that the universe will provide you everything, and you're not actually taking your own steps towards that. So that's true. But hey, wait a second. Wait. What happens when people are spending so much energy outwards that they're forgetting to love right here?
So that's
where I want to pick up on.
I'm so glad you said that, because that's the other person. So there's like the two kind of people that I write about in my book, in fact. The one that's out there, so the one that's not out there at all. She's basically like decided to have lots of cats. I'm sorry I say that, the cat lady. But I don't like to stereotype, and just being like, I'm never going to find love again because they're all jerks. There's that person. And it could be a he as well, by the way. I know, totally. There are men who have this too. And then there's the other person. I had a client who came in like this, and she's like, she was gorgeous. She was literally like 5'10", slim, blonde. I think she was like 35, and she's like, I'm getting married, and I'm on every single app. She was literally on apps I haven't even heard of before. And she's like, why isn't he coming? Why haven't I met him? Because I'm like going like 10 dates a week. And like last week I even went on 15 dates. Like I'm doing 3 a day. Like, where is he? And I'm like, you know what? Slow down, because you're making me anxious.
Right.
I'm just like, take yourself off of everything. You choose one, and you do it with consciousness.
Right.
So this is the other problem that people have. There's the people who are too consciousness. They're like, I'm just going to pray, and he's going to come. And I know a few women like this, and he does not come if you're not out there, or she. And then there's the people who are like, I'm going to be everywhere. I'm going to every party. I'm going on like 5 dates a day, whatever it is. I'm everywhere on every app. I'm going to double, triple book, and I'll decide on the night. And then nothing happens as well, because there's this fine line. It's like walking a tightrope. You have to have the consciousness, and you have to have the actual going and doing it.
Right.
And you need to be somewhere in between. You have to approach everything with openness, with warmth, with friendliness, but with also the consciousness of he might be here. But even if he's not, or he or she might, but even if that person isn't, I get something from my environment, so that everything I do, I find pleasure in, and I enjoy. And I meet great people. even if it's not my soulmate.
I love that. You know what? I have a kind of way of expressing this. Let me share this with yourself, Julia, and our audience. I say, act in such a way that everything matters. Nothing is so important that you sacrifice everything else.
I love it. That's fantastic.
You know what I mean? Act like it matters. Go out there.
And I say it. So I say it, and I say it in my book. I'm just like, be the yourself you want to be, with or without him or her.
That's golden. I want to capture that. That is just golden, because this is the thing. There's so much to be said about how we act without that person around, and yet you're out of integrity with yourself. People do not realize you're out of integrity, and you're out there trying to find the person that you'd like to be with when you yourself are not cultivating the beautiful qualities in yourself that you would want the other person to be attracted to. I mean, the very things you want from somebody else. Surely we should be emanating those things ourselves. And what better time to do that than starting to give back to the man in the mirror or the woman in the mirror. Start right there. Michael Jackson was on
completely.
It, right? MJ was onto something when he wrote that song, right? You want to make the world a better place.
Exactly. He's ahead of time.
So let's touch on that. I mean, let's talk about self-love, and let's talk about cultivating that authentic love with oneself, because I think, and I know we talked about this in our promotional material. This is such a powerful point, and I know that you're an interaction expert, and your background is authentic love. But let's touch on that, if you would, and indulge us a little bit. How can you fill those inner gaps?
My personal belief. Yeah, exactly. My personal belief, and I wrote it in my book as well. And in fact, all of my work with my clients starts, the first part is becoming the person you want to be. Right. And it starts with self-love. In fact, I think I have a quote from somebody saying, you cannot find love unless you love yourself first. It all begins there. But the main thing is, if you don't love yourself first, how are you going to recognize love when it is in front of your face? Like, you just won't believe in it if you don't feel that it's true. I mean, when somebody tells me I'm beautiful, I don't look them in the face and be like, yeah, right, what does he want? You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, thank you. Because you have to believe that you are worthy of compliments. You have to believe that you're worthy of love. You have to believe that somebody will really see that beauty in you. No matter how old you are, no matter, how old you get, it's like, it doesn't matter. That's independence. You have to believe that you are worthy. Because if you don't believe that, how will you believe anyone that tells you they love you? And then the other thing is, you have to act towards yourself the way you want the person to act towards you. So a lot of that for me is self-care. And I, tell my clients, including stressed out moms, that like self-care is just so super important. You have to be, look after yourself. Right. Because like, if you don't, who will? Like, really, time goes so fast. Children grow up, time changes, we get older, our bodies, don't react the way they do. Totally. So if you're not looking after yourself now, whatever age you are, what will happen later? It's just, take care of yourself while you've got yourself. So what would you regard, and obviously I know you go into this in your book, which is doing really well on Amazon, by the way, I might say, folks. It's a highly rated book on Amazon. Well done, Julia. I mean, I know that's you speaking, that's your experience speaking, that's your client speaking. What 3 keys to self-care could you share with our audience here this evening? Okay, so for a woman and a man, I'll have to say, like 60% of my clients are female and 40% are men. And it's funny because my book was originally written for women, and I have a book I'm writing for men. Okay. But I've had 40% of the book sales went to men, interestingly enough. Even my Amazon reviews are, 40% men. And by the way, guys, if you like the book, please do review it on Amazon. Give us lots of stars. But as far as the first thing is, you take care of the way you look. Because that is what the world sees. So, I'm sorry. I think it's not fair. Beauty shouldn't matter that much. It should be about what's inside of us. And that is the next bit, by the way. But the way you look is the first thing people see. And yes, he or she will love you. And once they love you, they will see and think that you look amazing no matter what you look like. Even when you look silly and when your hair's all over the place, or when you come out of the shower and you're not looking your best, whatever it is. they will love you anyway. But the first thing that they fall in love with is, fall in lust with, whatever it is just the outside. You just have to look after how you look. And the other thing is, I think people do connect how you look with how you take care of yourself. So if you're looking very messy, I mean, we all see these people, they come in, they look messy, they look rough, they look, like just got out of bed, and we're just like, what's wrong with that person? This is something, that person looks weird.
Right.
And that's the first thing we judge is the cover.
And
that's the first. The second,
reality of life,
it's just so important. I mean, and I'm, I don't want to stereotype, but it is, I think men are more visual than women are even. I think we are more likely to forgive than men are. I mean, I think men first look at that, which is, it's not fair, but you work with what you have. You're not going to change thousands, centuries of life. I mean, that's just what it is. And then the next thing is you take care of your health, because let's be honest, that's why I'm studying nutrition and naturopathy, because let's be honest, what else do you have if you don't have your health? I mean, for these people who work crazy hours and they sleep 4 hours a night, and then they, and they go and smoke cigarettes and they get drunk. I'm like, we've all been teenagers, we've all done crazy things, but now, like, take care of your health. How long do you think you have? If you're not sleeping properly, if you're not eating properly, if you're, smoking all the time, if you're drinking to excess on a regular basis, like, how long do you really think you have? Your body is going to give at some point.
Right. Totally.
And same thing if you're not taking care of what you eat. And, exercise. Like, sorry, but the research out there is like, you have to look after your health. You have to exercise, you have to eat right, because our bodies, they're only so elastic. They will take it and take it and take it and take it. Your body wants to do good things for you, but eventually it will break down. And if your health is not there, then all the money that you're making, all, the success in your career, whatever it is, all the people that you have, if you're not there, you're not gonna be able to enjoy any of it. And no amount of money will fix health problems. You can pay for the most expensive doctors, but if you haven't taken care of yourself,
yeah, you're on the back foot off the get-go. I think that's an important thing. A lot of people think, and here's the irony here. A lot of people, and this is, I think this is a bit of a tragedy. A lot of people think that me time, treating myself, we say take care of yourself. So a lot of people misconstrue, at least in my humble opinion, and from what I've seen on people who come on our retreats, people who we work with, time and time again, when we talk about me time, they misinterpret that me time means that it's an excuse to just overindulge in anything they want. Like, oh, me time, so I should just drink whenever I want. I should do whatever I want. I should do whatever I want, sleep whenever I want. But wait a minute, that's not true self-care.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Oh, and the third point, of course, I'm not neglecting this. The third point, very important, take care of what's in here.
In here.
So take care of your mind. Nice. Because the other thing I'm going to say is, in my personal opinion, I think cancer, heart disease, diabetes, all those things are horrible, but nothing is more horrible than something like Alzheimer's, where you lose, your brain goes, where you literally are still alive, but you have no idea who you are. That's why we take care of this. We take care of your mind, both with your diet and how you take care of your body, because the link between Alzheimer's and diabetes and Alzheimer's and smoking and Alzheimer's chronic diseases is big, very big link. But you take care of your mind, because there's also so much proof that if you keep studying, if you keep using your mind, if you keep learning new things, not only do you become a better person, you want to be informed about the world, you want to be interesting to talk to, you want to be someone that has lots going on, but you also live a more interesting life with all the things you learn. I mean, I know there are people in my class in nutrition who are women after menopause in their 60s, and they're still learning, and they're like, I'm discovering this whole new world, and it's amazing to watch that. So never stop learning, never stop improving yourself. You can learn new things whatever age you are. So if you take care of those three, you'll be okay.
I love that. So folks, we're near the end, and I just want to take a moment to ask you, Julia, we've got the book now. We've got the
Yes.
nutritional program in the wings, in the making. What's next on Julia's radar?
So I need to finish that book for men for sure.
Well, Julia, you're writing a
to
book for
finish the
men.
book for men.
We need to get you
What's
on the
that?
Men Empowerment Project. We need to.
I would love to. Yeah, I
We
have
need
a
to get you
fantastic
in front of
book, and I'm
in front of our
halfway
male.
through, and I would love to get on there.
We should definitely
And
connect.
that's due for the summer. But
Good.
But also when I graduate, I hope that there will be a clinic. I have a plan for an amazing clinic to help people with their longevity and vitality so that they can basically stay younger longer, because I'm passionate about that. So, but I need to graduate my program first, because I have lots of huge ideas, unfortunately. And like first I have to finish one thing at a time. Dot, dot, dot.
Absolutely. Can I just say
connect the dots? But
I
do amazing things.
Can I just say that it would be great when you open up your clinic in London. But I knowing your transatlantic sojourns, I expect that you'll have something stateside as well. So people both sides of the pond can benefit from the next level of wisdom that you're going to bring to the.
I have my father working on that in the States, in fact.
Hey, awesome.
With his clinic.
Your brother, did you say?
My father.
Your father's working on that on the States, so that's amazing. And I think that kind of combined force, when you're out there and you're getting your keynotes done, it will be a great opportunity to people to connect. And I would hope that we can have you back next year and you can share some insights about your clinic. We can do some online stuff as well, where we can really get those who are too shy to turn up, and we'll do some stuff. I know you're no stranger to Skype and Zoom, so we'll make sure that we get people give their chance.
And definitely about the Man Empowerment Program. Sounds exciting.
Oh yeah, so it's looking so good. We have another one up in January, and we'll be working with. We got a radio invite, so we'll be on show. Radio stations already approached us saying, "Hey, we heard what you're doing." We didn't even approach them; they approached us. We heard about this. We want you to be on the show and talk. So there's some great stuff, and I think it's about time, especially. And I'm not discounting the ladies for a second, but I think that out of the two genders, if there's one gender that kind of desperately needs to get in touch with their finer emotions, their softer emotions, I think that's the male species for sure. And there's a lot for men to realize that, to run around and take the caveman qualities doesn't serve us as men in the 21st century anymore. We're not just purely hunter-gatherers. You
need a woman on that.
Right. We're learners. I would rather say, rather than hunter-gatherers, we're learners and journey makers. That's what we are now, and we're all seekers. And I think that men can benefit a lot from, the insights that you're going to share and, what we're doing through Men Empowerment, and open people's hearts up. It's not just eyes, it's hearts and minds to help them. I
love it.
A lot of healing will occur if they just sit down, ask the right questions, as we've been doing here, stop playing victim, stop blaming your father for your childhood, your mother, your this, your that, your employee, and look to see what you can start doing to make that change. And then I think the other thing is that reality check. As you said at the beginning of this interview, we have to be patient. We got to ask ourselves, are we in this for the long run? And are we going to be patient? Or are we going to look for a quick fix? Because if you want a quick fix, guess what? Society provides us a plethora of distractions that we can, and deviations. And never good. Right? Right. And naughty food, Netflix binging, and whether it's a television diet or a food diet, we're distracting ourselves, and therefore we're numbing and suppressing that pain instead of learning, transmuting, and then weeding it out and creating something fresh. So, and I think that hopefully that'll be an insight that your book will reveal. So folks, Julia's book is out on Amazon. Julia, give us a wave of that book one more time, will you?
Absolutely.
There you go.
And don't forget the online program for the ladies. Sorry, it's only for the ladies, the online program, but it's on my website, juliakeller.co.uk. And we will have one for men, but after the men book is published. So
we'll get a link here on the show. I
have to finish writing it first.
Awesome. Folks, we'll have a link on the show for it. And
thanks, guys.
I want to thank you, Julia, for being with us and staying with us. And I just want to make a little announcement for all of you. Firstly, folks, thank you for being here. You've joined us at a time when, you could be doing many other things, Christmas parties and so forth, but somehow, somewhere in your heart and mind, you were guided to be here to consume this instead of the other stuff that you could consume. You've come to consume wisdom, Of course, that's why this is a Walk on the Wise Side show here at Urban Spirituality. And we're so delighted to have awesome guests like you who bring fresh insights for all of you. A quick, fantastic announcement for those of you who are on with us. I'm delighted to say January 2019, watch out. We're going to have a live mantra therapy event in Wembley. Yes, the home of Wembley Stadium. And that's going to be coming your way. So that's
right up my alley.
It's going to be right up your alley. So stay tuned. In January, we're going to be going to Wembley, and we're going to be having an awesome night of wisdom, meditation, mantras, all our signature stuff. And then fast forward later in January, the next Men Empowerment workshop will be coming your way. So ladies, if you know a guy who could really benefit to become the best guy he can be, it's not Gillette, I'm afraid. Oh, that thing.
It's better than Gillette.
It's better than Gillette. Show up, watch out, and check. Keep an eye on our Facebook page for that. And last but not least, we are going to Buckland Hall. I'm going to keep plugging this until people sign up, because you have to damn well sign up to make it.
And what is that? Tell me more about that.
We are on our Mind, Body, Soul Detox and Transformation Wellness Weekend.
Wow.
3 nights in the beautiful Brecon Beacons, 8th to 11th of March. We will be there. It'll be our third retreat back to Buckland Hall. It's one of our most popular retreats, where we take 20 to 30 people, and we will own a beautiful 400-year-old listed building that used to be frequented by J.R.R. Tolkien of The Hobbit. And we're going to be doing an incredible weekend of transformation. So you're all invited. Julia, you're invited too, of course. And so your friends. So we'd love to have you all there. There's so much to say. All I'll say is check out our other episodes. Check out Julia's work. I'll include the links here so you can check it out. And stay tuned. We have a couple more episodes on their way over the coming weeks that'll see you through to the new year. And we want to really make sure wisdom goes viral.
Amazing. See how hard you work? Even over Christmas.
Oh, even over Christmas, we're going to make sure wisdom needs to go out. So we'll make sure it's going out there. We'll do our best to keep a balance between personal life and wisdom, and let everybody be empowered, as you're so wonderfully doing, Julia. So thank you once again, Julia. You've been just awesome. Your energy, I can feel it right on the other end of this internet connection. It's just so awesome to have you. And we hope that we can follow your journey, and let's have you back on the show next year. Let's bring you back, and let's do something awesome. Any last words, Julia, from you?
Thank you, guys. And again, juliakeller.co.uk. Please do tune in. And if you find us on YouTube, if you write Coach Julia Keller or Julia Keller Coaching, you'll find us on YouTube and tune into some of our videos. We have some great videos to get you through Christmas and New Year's. And we have some great newsletters coming out. So sign up for our newsletter. We have a fantastic one actually coming up all about how to survive Christmas even when you're single.
Even when you're single.
Christmas, even when you're single.
I think we need to grab that. We'll make sure we'll try and get it out to our tribes.
That's on juliakeller.co.uk. You can sign up for a newsletter and make use of that half-price Christmas offer, ladies.
Ladies, hope you're listening. Julia, thank you so much, folks. Stay strong, stay tuned, stay wise, and care and share with everyone you know. Lots of good stuff coming your way. Prash K, Urban Spirituality Therapy. Peace out. Namaste, folks.
Namaste.
Hey, folks. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. And as with all our episodes, found something to inform, inspire, and empower you in your spiritual and personal journeys in life. As always, if you enjoyed it, feel free to leave a little love through your ratings and comments. Share it with those who you care about. And take your personal and spiritual evolution to the next level by joining us on one of our events, workshops, or retreats. Find out more about us at mantratherapy.co.uk. I'm your host, Prash K. This is Urban Spirituality, and we will catch you on the next episode.